Hi everyone, Wilson here from Cloud Guardians. Today we're going to be looking at the cyber risks for accountants in Australia and New Zealand. These insights are based on the recent online cybersecurity meeting held by the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand. From the 1-hour meeting that they had, I've basically condensed all the information from the experts into 3 main points. The first point that I'm going to highlight is why accounting firms of all sizes are being targeted. Then we are going to look at some of the most common ways that accounting firms are being attacked. Finally, I'm going to highlight some of the approaches that experts have recommended to avoid getting attacked. The main message from the Chartered Accountant Association is that all accounting firms, whether you're small, medium or large, are being targeted. Why? Well, that's because hackers aren't just there to steal your money. They are there to access your client's information, which may lead to a larger prize for them. Therefore, just because you're small, it doesn't mean you're safe. In fact, you might be an easier target if you don't have security controls in place, because hackers actually target multiple firms at once. And the firms with the weakest security controls are the ones that get attacked. Think about it. If the government and big banks, which already have security controls, can get hit, you can too. Even the US government was hit by overseas hackers. They were able to determine who was doing what for the US government based on their staff pay information. A lot of the times, smaller firms do not have cybersecurity in place, and that's because they get overwhelmed with the information on cybersecurity, which is constantly evolving, and as a result, they end up not doing anything, making them an easy target for hackers. So what are the most common ways that accounting firms are getting attacked? Well, it turns out to be ransomware, and it's been top of the list for the past 3 years. It's basically a software that hackers deploy into your computer once they get into your computer system, and it locks up all your files, preventing you from working on your computer and serving your clients. They will then ask you to make a payment to them so that you can unlock and re-access your files. With ransomware, hackers are able to target multiple firms simultaneously, and that's because the software can be reused at scale. Most of the time it is the small firms that get targeted because they have little to no security controls in place, and the hackers know this. Another common attack that the Chartered Accountant of New Zealand and Australia has shared with us is supply chain attacks. This is where hackers get into your email and they use it to send phishing emails to all your contacts. These phishing emails allow the hacker to pretend to be you and ask your contacts for money, like paying an unpaid invoice, or they will email your business contacts a link containing the ransomware. This type of email attack has gone up by 400% in the past year. According to the experts in the talk, about 71% of SMEs have experienced an attack in their lifetime, and 66 of these SMEs had an attack in the last 12 months. 80% of the firms in Australia and New Zealand being interviewed were deeply worried about their protection. We're also seeing more sectors being attacked. Back then, there was only 3 main sectors. Now there's 11 different industries that have experienced cyber attacks. The meeting also highlighted that cyber attacks happen every 11 seconds, with an average scam value of around $233 per record. Now that might not seem a lot, but if you add it up across the market, that comes to around $3.86 million to $4.24 million. We have to realize that these international hackers are making a lot of money. So it's not a matter of if they will attack you, but when they will attack you. So how do we keep ourselves safe? Well, it starts off by having cybersecurity awareness and performing non-financial risk assessments on your organization. For instance, you can use the Essential 8 framework developed by the Australian Cybersecurity Agency to evaluate your current security controls. Other than the Essential 8, you can also think about these questions to help you strengthen your cybersecurity. For instance, what security controls are actually in place? How are they being maintained and monitored? And other than thinking about what needs to be done, another important factor to consider is who is responsible for your security. Lastly, because we are shifting a lot of the work on the cloud, we should also think about how our cloud data is secured and who has access to it. The Chartered Accountant Association also suggested having these technical controls in place, such as having password management systems, separating and reducing data in your cloud storage, securing personal PCs that are used for remote work. Other than technical controls, they also said it's important to have the human controls in place, such as training your staff to detect fake phishing emails, and having an incident response plan so that your colleagues will know how to report the attack to insurance, government, and business partners to prevent the virus from spreading. Recently, countries like the US, Australia, and New Zealand have updated their legislation. They now require you to not only have security controls in place, but also require you to report to the government when a breach occurs, whether that breach was successful or not. Remember, there is no one system that provides 100% protection. You need a multifaceted approach, which means that you'll need a combination of technical controls and human controls in place. By implementing the basics correctly, you can mitigate 90% of the risks and costs for you and your customers. It also builds trust and strengthens your reputation when working with your clients and other businesses, even though certifications are not mandatory yet. However, they are becoming a baseline expectation between large businesses that are working together. Lastly, having these security controls in place allows you to qualify for cyber insurance, so you can get compensated when an attack occurs. Cybersecurity is evolving exactly the same way, just like the environment for construction. In the 90s, we don't see construction workers wearing safety gear or performing safety induction training. But today, it's mandatory for them to have these safety procedures in place. And the same thing will happen for cybersecurity. So just to wrap things up, the Chartered Accountants of New Zealand and Australia has basically highlighted that accounting firms of all sizes, whether they're big or small, can get attacked. especially those that have a weak security control system in place. And that's because as accountants, we hold valuable information for businesses. And remember, it's not a matter of if you're going to be attacked, it's when you're going to be attacked. Secondly, ransomware and phishing emails remain as the #1 threat because it allows hackers to target multiple firms at once while spreading across supply chains. To stay safe, remember to perform non-financial assessments on your organization to see where you stand, and also remember to take action to implement these controls. Also, have a plan in place to report attacks to government, business partners, and insurance companies to stop the spread and minimize your financial and data loss. If you want to see where your firm stands, I've put together a checklist based on these insights from the Chartered Accountants of Australia and New Zealand. You can also send me an email at info@cloudguardians.co.nz, and we can make cybersecurity a part of your business process. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hit the like button if this helped. Subscribe for more tips. Drop a comment if you've dealt with any cyber attacks, or share this to someone who would find this useful. Stay safe.